afternoon, my friends. Welcome to this afternoon edition of Happiness After Codependency. I'm Marshall Berkshire, and I'm your guide here, and coming back to knowing, loving, and living who you are, experiencing actual lasting happiness after codependency. So I'm excited to be here to contribute to your journey today. Man, this cough and this season and all this stuff. Today's episode 19 in the Random Bits series, because it sits right here. It just sits right there. So when I talk, I cough. So today's episode 19 in the Random Bits series, we're going to be exploring something that's a little more advanced that you're going to encounter as you grow out of codependency and into yourself. It's really a paradox of confidence. So we're going to be getting into that. But before we do that, I'm going to get this shared out to the community here real quick, so you guys can join in with us today. The community is a place where you can find tools, guidance, support. I interact with the community. I comment on posts. I share other tools, other training, other guidance, things like that, exclusive to the community. So you have to join in order to get access to those things. They are free. We can get it there. Link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell so you know when I upload new videos and trainings. As well as, guys, if you find this video, this training valuable, share it out with those who you think will benefit from it. And thank you for doing that too. I appreciate you guys helping me get my work out there into the world, because I couldn't succeed without you, and I appreciate that. And last but not least, concerning the group, man, this cough. There's a set of rules that govern the community. Check the rules out in the link above on Facebook, below on YouTube. Make sure that those rules make sense to you. They're aligned with what you need in your world, and then apply to join. All right. So let's go over here. And hi again. Nice to see you guys. I'm excited to talk about this, because this is something I'm encountering actively in my life right now. Because the first premise of my work is curiosity. We are not intrinsically codependent. We're human beings seeking the three necessities: safety, connection, and identity. Right? And when we have safety, connection, and identity, then we move into the wants. Dynamically, dynamically, I don't even know if that word even makes sense for this context, but what we tend to seek after we have our need for safety, connection, and identity met, we seek discovery of self, more of life. We seek to go out and play, create, and discover. We want to make an impact in the world in some way. We want to affect it. We want to understand it. We want to play. We get out there and experience this thing we call life, and get out there and learn more, because we're always going to be going through, at least I have found that I frequently go through a cycle of awakening, and from that awakening comes a sobriety, a clarity about the thing, whether it's myself, the world, another person, place, or thing, or all of those things at once. There is a sobriety, a clarity that emerges, and then from there becomes a discovery of self in my relationship to this sobriety, and then a self-mastery in relationship to it, which leads to a joy, a well-being, a contentment, or a happiness that emerges. And in this process, we're going to be experiencing some paradoxes. And one of those paradoxes, as we move farther into being ourselves, is the paradox of confidence. So give this its codependent foundation. Confidence in the codependent dynamic is that someone else believes me, someone else agrees with me, someone else has made this real for me. So our sense of confidence in our skills, in our being, and who we are, being lovable, being wantable, being able to succeed, is largely externally dependent on another person, place, or thing, and their perspectives, feelings, reactions, and opinions of us. So we don't have real confidence, we have externalized confidence. Like, okay, if they believe in me, then I can believe in me. As we go through the journey of healing, we are actually confronted with developing our own sense of self-trust. And that self-trust then begats, there's a word, begats. It creates or fathers, I guess it creates or it inspires a natural sense of self-confidence. Now, this type of self-confidence isn't geared in that I can do a thing. The confidence in skills is a product of this, but this self-confidence more is about the willingness to stand on our own 2 feet, sovereign in our space with ourself. This doesn't mean we're standing alone, but it does mean we're not standing enmeshed with someone else. We're not standing in their space, utilizing their confidence, their belief, their things to hold us up. We are getting used to standing on our own legs, getting used to the sense of our own strength, largely getting used to the sense of separation or aloneness we might feel in this space because we're not experiencing that huge sense of entanglement that feels like connection to a codependent anymore. Instead, we're actually experiencing sovereignty and genuine support from people who love and care about us. And that can feel like space. That can feel very vulnerable, very exposing. It may even feel like we don't each actually have their support because we're not tangled up in their perspective of us. We are relying on our own perspective, our own confidences, our own sense of personhood, and not on their sense of our personhood. It doesn't mean we can't lean on them for reassurance. We can. Reassurance is, hey, this is what's going on. Here's how I feel about it. And they're like, yeah, I see that. I feel that way too. We find out we have someone on our side rather than someone defining our reality for us, which is more what validation does. This paradox of confidence is going to leave us feeling in that exposed, maybe alone state. When we get to this place, this is an important transition for us because now we're beginning to connect with one, sovereignty, but two, real connection. Because real connection doesn't engulf, it doesn't entangle, it doesn't consume. Instead, it respects, it values, and it holds. And in this holding, there's warmth, there's care, there's celebration, there's boundary, there's ownership, and then there is an allegiance, not necessarily there's a loyalty in the fact that I care about you and your well-being, and I'm going to respond to you from that context. So the loyalty is to one's well-being and to the well-being of the other, not necessarily this, hey, you have to be loyal to me or else kind of narcissistic concept. They have our back, but they're also going to tell us if we're the ones causing ourselves the pain by doing the thing we do. This kind of sovereignty and standing in our confidence of self allows us to pivot. There's a word some people can't stand. I'm beginning to not stand it, even though I'm using it lately. Allows us to pivot more towards that self-trust we've been developing and the self-actualization, the ability to embody who we are and put it into action in the world and make the impact we're looking for. This is a critical paradox for us to encounter, because the paradox in this is that we are acting in confidence, but we're not necessarily going to feel like it, and we're going to be wrestling with this sense of distance we feel from people who actually support us. They legitimately care and support us, but we're learning what this connection really feels like, what its warmth is like, how it behaves, how it talks, how we respond to it, and how we internalize it. A really important component here, because in this we are discovering more about who we actually are and who versus who we have been programmed to be. So this confidence means we're going to be doing things we haven't done before, that we don't have a whole lot of experience in, and that we're going to be taking risks while while also utilizing the support we've built through us in our healing process. This paradox of confidence is the transition from the enmeshment to the connection we seek, to the belonging we seek, to the community where we feel seen, valued, and supported in our desires and in our dreams. People have our back. We have theirs, but they're not taking from us our sense of autonomy, our sense of person. We're not requiring that of them. Instead, we're celebrating and seeing each other and allowing each other to grow and develop in the ways that we choose to do that. This means that we've got to get used to relying and trusting on ourselves first, and then bringing in the connection and feedback that others give us, and then bringing that from sources that have shown that they care about us, they love us, and that they're willing to understand us and support us in our own discovery. This is the paradox we face in our world, in our development, in our healing here in codependency. So as you get down the road, you're going to encounter this because you're going to be like, okay, I need to go out and do this on my own. That's where you're entering that sovereign confidence. Because it's going to feel alone because, you got to take the action. That's the only thing that's the thing you do. And that is where the aloneness can be really pronounced. But then we bring in the connection. We bring in the support from the healthy community we've been building through our healing process, and allow them to nurture us, shelter us, and celebrate us. This is how we make the transition from enmeshed codependent confidence as I need someone else to believe in me so I'll believe in me, into I believe in me and I am supported by people who also believe in me. So we have our sovereign confidence that way. So that's today's thing, because this is what I'm experiencing in my own world, is this transition right now. And it's a big deal with alignment, congruency, becoming more in harmony with myself and what my values and priorities are. And these things lead to big changes a lot of times for us. Now, we're always in this process of realignment. So wherever you're at in your journey, take time to celebrate it. Take time to acknowledge what's there, what it's telling you, and then explore the adjustments that you become aware of. We'll be doing I'll be diving into this more as we go down the road and I get more of my own traction in these kinds of transitions, so that we can navigate life further and further towards our joy and towards our contentment and well-being, and leave behind codependency and enmeshment and the trauma bond, because that stuff is no longer necessary when we're properly resourcing ourselves. So there we go. That's today's episode. Thank you guys for being here. Remember, we have the 5-day workshop starting here March 28th, so about a week and a half from now. Come and join us. It's $47 for the recording. You can attend the live classes for free. It'll be Monday through Friday that week, so the 28th through the 1st of April, 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. each day. I teach the class twice. For the and the time zone is Mountain Daylight Savings Times. Keep that in mind. And but we'll be exploring the 4 core practices that all codependents need in order to be free. Hey, John. Nice to see you. First of all is the practice of soothing the nervous system and its tension. Second one is restoring self-trust and the legitimacy of one's reactions. The third is befriending one's lived experience and their emotions. And then the fourth is retrieving or taking back one's innate value. So come and join us with that. My friends, go gently with yourselves in this work. It's big work. It's a lifelong process. And it's one about discovery, about expansion, about integration, and then more discovery, expansion, and integration. Round and round we go. So go gently with yourselves, my friends, and I will see you in our next episode. Bye-bye.